Okay, let's be real. Finding a new job can feel like a full-time job in itself, right? But what if you had a clear, powerful playbook to follow? Well, that's what we're going to do here. We're breaking down the entire process, from branding yourself all the way to your first day, into simple, actionable steps. Ready? Let's dive in.
First things first, I've got a question for you. If you had to boil down your entire professional value into just 5 words, what would they be? Go on, think about it. This little exercise is way more important than you think. It's actually the starting point for absolutely everything that follows.
And that 5-word phrase? That's the heart of your personal brand. See, before you even think about touching your resume, you have to get crystal clear on what makes you, what makes you different. This is the foundation we're going to build your entire job search on.
So, what is a personal brand, really? Think of it like your professional DNA. It's a super short, strategic statement that pulls together all your unique strengths and what you stand for. Nailing this is what makes you memorable to an employer, not just another piece of paper in the stack.
Okay, so you've defined your brand. Now what? Well, you've got to get it out there. And that's where networking comes in. And look, this is more than just collecting names. It's about building real, genuine relationships. You can do that by talking to people in informational interviews, showing up to events, or even just volunteering for something you care about.
All right, let's get into the next crucial stage, your resume. This is where we translate that awesome personal brand we just talked about into a document that honestly just demands to be read.
Your resume is not a list of your old duties. It's a highlight reel of your biggest wins. Just look at the difference here. Responsible for is so passive. It's kind of meh, but developed and ran, that shows you took charge. You made something happen. The takeaway here is simple. Always, always lead with strong, dynamic verbs. And this leads us right into the next golden rule. Add numbers. Saying you supervised other tellers is pretty vague, right? But saying you supervised 6 tellers, that paints a really clear picture of your responsibility. Numbers make your accomplishments feel real, tangible, and a whole lot more impressive.
Now here's why all this formatting matters so much. A recruiter spends just seconds scanning your resume. I mean it, literally seconds. You have to make sure the very first thing they see is what's most important for the job you want. That's why tailoring the order for every single application is totally non-negotiable.
Okay, take a look at this number, 40%. What critical yet super common job search mistake do you think this represents? I'll give you a hint. It's something tiny that can instantly undo all of your hard work.
Can you believe that? A shocking 40% of senior financial executives will literally throw out a resume if it has just one typo. This just proves that proofreading isn't optional. It's everything. Please don't let one tiny error erase all the amazing work you've put in.
All right, your perfect, typo-free resume did its job and got you in the door. Now it's time to master the interview. This is your big chance to bring that document to life and tell your professional story with some real confidence.
So, what's the big secret to a great interview? It's actually pretty simple. Stop just listing facts about yourself and start telling stories. See, anyone can say they have a skill. A compelling story about a time you succeeded, that's what makes you persuasive and way more memorable.
And the absolute best way to structure these stories is something called the STAR method. It's a super simple 4-step formula. First, you set up the situation, then you explain your task, you detail the action you took, and, this is the most important part, you share the result.
Let's actually see it in action. First up, the situation. Notice how this clearly sets the scene. We know the context, and we know the problem. Participation in a really important event was dropping off.
Next up, we have the task and the action. The objective was clear and specific, lead a promotional effort. And the actions were concrete and practical, like a simple flyer campaign that ended up being a real game changer.
And here is the big payoff, the result. This is what every single hiring manager is waiting to hear, a positive, measurable outcome that proves your actions had a real impact. 83 walkers and nearly $10,000 raised? Now that is a story.
Ah, the dreaded "what are your weaknesses" question. We've all been there. Now, the cliche answer on the left just sounds arrogant, right? It's a humble brag. But the answer on the right is so much better. It's honest, it's self-aware, and it turns a negative into a positive by showing you're eager to grow. That's exactly what interviewers want to see.
And remember, an interview is a two-way street. You are interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. When you come prepared with thoughtful questions, like asking about the company culture or how they measure success, it shows you're not just looking for any job, you're looking for the right job.
You aced the interview. That's fantastic. But don't pop the champagne just yet. You're not quite at the finish line. This final stage, the follow-through, is just as critical as everything that came before it.
First thing you need to do, send a thank you note within 24 hours. This is non-negotiable. This example here is perfect. It's short, it's professional, it reminds them why you're interested, and it keeps you top of mind. Seriously, do not skip this step.
So what happens if you don't hear back? First off, don't panic. The key here is to be persistent, but not pushy. A single, polite follow-up email, maybe 1 to 2 weeks after the interview, is the perfect way to check in without being annoying.
And finally, the best part. You've accepted that amazing new offer. The very last step is to leave your current job with grace. Here's the golden rule. Always tell your direct supervisor in person before you tell anyone else. You never, ever want to burn bridges.
So, from building your brand all the way to your final day, that's the playbook. Your career is an ongoing story, and you're the one holding the pen. So the only question left is, what are you going to write in the next chapter?